Hi, friends. We are going to start off this book talk talking about the book On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. Now, all three of the books I'm going to talk to you about today. Now, I've got physical copies of two of them. So I have Lore Olympus here, I have the crossover here. I had to return On a Sunbeam to the library because so many people wanted it. But all the books that I'm going to talk to you about today, they are graphic novels. That is the tie-in together today. So that is our theme. We're going to talk about several graphic novel options that are great for you high schoolers that you really would be probably interested in reading. And I'm going to start off with the one that was so popular that I couldn't even keep a hold of it. I had to return it to the library because so many people had holds on it. So as soon as I finished it, I had to return it. This is On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden, as you can see on my screen. The unique thing about this particular graphic novel is there are no male characters in it. It is all female or non-binary characters, which is really cool. So very female strong storyline. It's really cool. It's a space sci-fi setting, so it's kind of futuristic. They are, on spaceships, colonizing different planets and different things like that. It also has a dual timeline. So there is kind of a 15-year gap, sort of, between the two stories going on simultaneously. But they do tie together at the end, which is really nice. It's about relationships, first love, falling in love, finding yourself, found families, kind of the pain of loss a little bit. There's a little bit of a mystery in there. There's this non-binary character named Elliot who does not speak at all. They don't use words. They're just a mute. And so it's kind of interesting trying to figure out, like, why is Elliot mute? Why don't they talk? What happened to them to get them onto this spaceship where, all the rest of the characters are? How did they come to be like this? And what made them decide to stop talking? Because it becomes clear later that Elliot didn't always not talk. So that's an interesting kind of mystery to figure out, like, why Elliot no longer talks, like what happened to them, and that sort of thing is pretty cool. This book itself is a Hugo Award nominee. It won an LA Times Book Prize, is a Lambda Literary Award nominee, and an Eisner Comic nominee. So a lot of awards up for this book. This book is really popular. It has an average 4.3 stars rating on Goodreads. You know me, I love Goodreads. I love to use it to kind of rate the books I'm reading and check out books to kind of figure out what I want to read next. So this has really good ratings on Goodreads too. And like I said, it was so popular that I had to return it to the library. I couldn't even keep it after I finished it because so many people had holds on it. So On a Sunbeam, if you're interested in LGBTQ, space stories, graphic novels, stories about falling in love, stories about found family, stories that involve time twist a little bit, any of those things are interesting to you, you would really like On a Sunbeam. I really, really enjoyed reading this book, and the art in it is just beautiful. And the second book I want to talk about I have here. This is Lore Olympus. So if you could imagine the ancient Greek myths with a twist. So have you ever wondered what it would be like if the ancient Greeks myths were told in modern times? Imagine if the gods had cell phones and cars and they lived in a big city with bright lights. This is kind of what Lore Olympus, Rachel Smith's Lore Olympus is like. It's the ancient myths retold in a modern fantasy setting. It started, interestingly enough, as a published webtoon, and then they now have, I think, 3 volumes of the book out, which is really good. I read it. I mean, you can see how thick this is. It's a pretty good length graphic novel, and I read it all in one sitting. I could not put it down. It was so good. It's an Eisner Award nominated book, and it is also an Alex Award winner. It uses a lot of really, really beautiful illustrations. I'm just going to turn to one of my favorite pages in here. I'm trying to find it again. So you can see there's this particular scene where we've got these characters that are like struggling with something, And the colors is all very muted and just two colors. And the artist uses just two colors to communicate everything. It's really cool. She uses a lot of these muted tones. Very basic color palette. Doesn't use a whole lot of different colors at once. Typically 3 to 4 colors maximum in the panels at a time, so it doesn't overwhelm you. Really, really cool story. I love it personally. And it's basically about the young goddess Persephone, who has been raised in the mortal world and who is now living in and learning about the, this realm of the gods in Olympus, which is like this big bright city. It's all political. There's a lot of games that the gods and goddesses play with each other, and they can be a little backhanded, a little bit toxic at times. And so Persephone is just kind of young and naive, and she has to learn her way around Olympus. And she falls in love. And so it's a love story too. It's got some romance. The bachelor god Hades, who she ends up falling in love with. So it's really, really good. And like I said, this is volume 1. There's, I think, 3 volumes out now. And I think even more coming out, because the webtoon, when it was published, had so many different comic panels. Like, I remember reading a few of them when it was coming out as a webtoon before the book was ever thought of, and thinking like, hey, this is cool. And then when they finally came out with the volume 1 and I picked it up, I loved it so much I read it all in one sitting. And this is my personal copy that I bought because I came across it paperback in the store. That was a really good price, and I was like, I've got to own that. That's really good. I love it. So of course I bought it. So that is Lore Olympus. And the last book I want to talk to you about is The Crossover. This is a graphic novel version. You can also read this book as a novel in verse, but this is the graphic novel version of the novel in verse. So it's told a little bit free verse, a little bit prose. And I want to read you an excerpt from this. I want to read you the introduction of this character. Dribbling at the top of the key, I'm moving and grooving, popping and rocking. Why you bumping? Why you locking? Man, take this thumping. Be careful, though, because now I'm crunking. Crisscrossing, flossing, whipping, and dipping will leave you slipping on the floor while I swoop into the finish with a fierce finger roll, straight into the hole, swoosh. Josh Bell is my name, but Filthy McNasty is my claim to fame. Folks call me that because my game's a claim, so downright dirty, I'll put you to shame. My hair is long, my height's tall. See, I'm the next Kevin Durant, LeBron, and Chris Paul. Remember the greats? My dad likes to gloat. I balled with Magic and the GOAT, but tricks are for kids, I reply. Don't need your pets, my game's so fly. Mom says your dad's old school like an old Chevette. You're fresh and new like a red Corvette. Your game's so sweet, it's a crepe Suzette. Each time you play, it's all net. If anyone else called me fresh and sweet, I'd burn mad as a flame, but I know she's only talking about my game. See, when I play ball, I'm on fire. When I shoot, I inspire. The hoop's for sale, and I'm the buyer. So this book, which is a Newbery Medal winner, is told from the perspective of one twin, Josh Bell. He has a twin, Jordan Bell, and they are basketball stars. And Josh also, interestingly enough, he's a really good rapper and musician and poet. And so his voice is what is used to tell this story. And he tells it in a combination of poems, but also a little bit of prose. But the story, the main conflict here is that they're in the 7th grade. They're having this all-time winning season in basketball. Things are going really great. And then a new girl shows up at school and starts flirting with his twin brother, Jordan. And before you know it, twin brother Jordan is, you ever seen Bambi? Twitter-pated. His brother falls in love with this girl and gets a girlfriend, first ever girlfriend in the 7th grade. And so Josh is kind of left hanging because Jordan's off hanging out with his girlfriend all the time. He's not thinking about basketball or his brother anymore. And so Josh is left to deal with things. And his dad is having some health problems. And his mom is the assistant principal. And he's getting in trouble at school. And so you kind of follow Filthy McNasty, or Josh Bell, his character, in the book as he's dealing with, trying to maintain his grip on things that are sliding while he feels like his brother is getting farther away because of this new girlfriend thing. I won't ruin the ending for you, but I will say it has a twist. It's really good. I also read this book in one sitting. It's not hard to read in one sitting. It's not super thick. Um, really, really good book. 4.4 stars on Goodreads. And if you like poetry, if you like basketball, if you like rap, if you like stories about compelling characters who have real world issues, things that you would typically deal with as a teenager, this is a great story. My high schoolers, I'm sure you'll love this story. So this is the last one for you. But like I said, so we had The Crossover by Kwame Alexander. And we also talked about today Lore Olympus, Rachel Smith. And we also talked about On a Sunbeam. All three of these are really awesome graphic novels that you can gobble up, mostly in one sitting if you really wanted to. On a Sunbeam's a little longer, but these are some really good quick reads, and their art is beautiful. The stories are beautiful. The characters are great. All three of these books, On a Sunbeam, Lore Olympus, and The Crossover, are available in our library for you to check out at any time. So if you want to talk more about them, hit me up. Let me know. I hope you enjoyed this book talk, and I hope that you find a book like this that you would like to read. Bye.